Michael J. Astore was born on June 16, 1918 in Altoona, Pennsylvania to Francisco Astore, who was born on September 23, 1883 and died on November 12, 1968. Francisco had actually outlived two of his children and two of his wives. The first wife that he outlived was Michael's mother, Eleanor Astore. She was born on July 26, 1890, and she passed away on January 5, 1933. The other child other than Michael that Francisco outlived was Michael's older sister Mary, who was born on June 21, 1914, and she sadly passed away when she was only 3 years old on May 10, 1918. His brother Ralph was born on January 19, 1924, and he passed away on June 30, 2008. Ralph would marry a woman named Doris, who was born in 1931 and died in 1998. I couldn't find any mentions of any names for any of their children for Ralph and Doris, but Francisco's obituary does state that he had three more daughters, Julia, Mary, and Patsy, who I'm assuming was with one of his other wives, and at least 39 grandchildren and 24 great-grandchildren at the time of his death. Since Mary was too young, since she never lived in the childhood, none of the children could be hers, and as far as I could tell, Michael never got married and he never had children, so it's safe to assume that one or maybe a handful of the other 39 children that grandchildren of Francisco's were probably Ralph and Dolores' children. It doesn't state names because it'd be a long list, and it seems like back then they weren't big on listing a whole lot of names. So even still, I don't know, but it's a good assumption that Ralph and Dolores had children somewhere down the road. Michael would graduate from Altoona Area High School in 1938 and joined the Army sometime soon after in 1939. He was sent to Fort Myer, Virginia to become a member of the 16th Field Artillery Battalion C. He wouldn't get to go overseas, even though the 16th Field Artillery would, because on May 15, 1914, he was attempting to stop four runaway horses when he suffered a concussion and a fractured skull, which ultimately led to his death. His body was returned to Altoona, and he was buried in Calvary Cemetery, where he can be found somewhere amongst the rest of the headstones in Section A. While Michael would never see the horrors of World War II, the 16th Field Artillery would several times, and they would even serve in Vietnam and the more recent War on Terror. I'm not going to go too in depth other than that for the 16th Field Artillery, because, like I said, I prefer to try to keep the videos about the soldiers, no matter how short they are. Like Michael's is going to be short because didn't go off the war, couldn't really find a whole lot of information on him. Like I said, right now my search is kind of limited to find the grave, because a lot of websites want you to pay to look at obituaries and that, and I just don't have access to those. So what I'm going to do is I'll make separate videos for the divisions, like for the 16th Field Artillery. I'm going to work on a separate video for that, and they'll be their own little thing. That way, if you want, you can go on the video and you can listen. Basically gonna list like what wars they fought in, what campaigns they were in, what did they call? Basically all the achievements in that they received from them. I mean, some of them, like the 8th Ohio, didn't go overseas to World War I. Well, they went overseas, I found out, but they didn't serve in any campaigns, so there's no information other than people got assigned, went overseas, and didn't fight. There, there's just no information for that because they didn't fight. But I'll basically break it down. Fuck that. Basically, I'll break it down by like what they got assigned to and where they were at. I found a website that kind of gives me a good idea of what each one did during the war and what wars they fought in. Like the 16th Battalion didn't fight in Korea, but they fought in Vietnam and they fought in the War on Terror. And obviously, some, like, I doubt Revolutionary War. Whenever I can get information on Revolutionary War divisions and battalions and companies and stuff like that, I doubt that they would have existed up until the World Wars. I would say maybe they'd be pushing Civil War. Because so far, between the 8th Ohio and the 16th Field Artillery, they're not saying they're from the Civil War, so I'll see how far back that record goes. Alright, thanks. Bye.